my personal theory is if we're getting that kind of flame, it's because like these like Meteos was like a big name on the team. He got removed. Cody was a pretty big name like compared to like Rokara, who was on Academy. So I think mostly people are upset at that kind of stuff, and they, all that anger like goes over to like, you're part of NA now and now you lost. I hate you. It's like, I think this is a little bit like outspoken. Maybe.
Hello everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, joined here by Pr0lly. You guys just didn't make it out of groups, so with the final 2-4 score, you managed to grab that win at the end against G-Rex. Talk me through how the tournament went overall for you, from your perspective.
From my perspective, the tournament went very poorly for us in terms of results. So I think after the first week, it was kind of, I guess, expected. I think none of the teams really did anything that we were super surprised about. I think it was more of like how we were playing was like, we need to fix this, because I think Fnatic hasn't changed their style or what they've been doing for the last like month or so, and IG is pretty similar. But I think, playing against international opponents when everyone on the team is like so inexperienced, or at least two of the players are really, really inexperienced, like took us a bit longer to adjust to it. So that was I guess that was maybe a shock, because I think the last couple times I went to Worlds, I went with only people who have had international experience. So I wasn't ready for like, has everyone been used to like shocking meta, we need to change everything? Because that's kind of I think that's a really hard thing for a lot of players, is everything that worked in your region becomes like not workable anymore, and you have to be like, okay, I was not wrong, but I need to change everything. And I think that's a really hard thing to do. So even with some of our veterans, that was actually a challenge.
Okay. So overall, though, I mean, 100 Thieves, obviously a new org coming in this year. You came in and essentially built the roster with Nadeshot, from what we know at least, and managed to go to Worlds in your very first year. Would you say that the first year still was a success with a bittersweet ending?
I guess so. I'm never like, I think, I don't know, what's the way to put it? I still feel like if we went to Worlds, got out of groups, and then like failed in quarters, I'd still feel the same way I do now, where it's like, I wish it wasn't over yet.
Right.
So it's like, I guess you could say it's successful, but it doesn't feel successful.
Right.
Even though like, getting to Worlds in your first year is like really nice for a new org like us. But it's still like, it doesn't, I'm not going to like sleep well at night. I'm still going to be thinking about these games and like what went right, what went wrong with the change.
Okay, so I mean that's obviously to be expected now that it just happened and stuff. But I'm sure that in like maybe 2 weeks time or something like that, things will
cool
maybe
down.
Exactly, a bit easier. I mean, at the end of the day, you managed to deny TSM the spot, for example.
That was our goal first year. Deny TSM, got bye.
It's something. I get it's something. Overall, I have to say though, I know you don't really check social media probably right now for good reason right now. People really don't like 100 Thieves right now online. There's a lot of stuff going on there. There's also some funny memes, to be fair. I'll give you this one. It's a bit BM, but go with me here. The biggest heist of the year was taking our hopes and dreams for Worlds.
That's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Yeah.
It is pretty good.
But we can, like, I thought, I mean, I guess second seed should do better. I mean, one team, NA is just rough at Worlds. If we were the hopes and dreams, then I'm really sorry. We should be some kind of hopes and dreams, but...
I will say that, like, in a group with IG and Fnatic, I mean, that's just really, really rough, just in general. Like, from a European perspective, because Fnatic were just, they are a step ahead of every other EU team. I'd be confident them beating TL as well. So it's like, I expected kind of this turnout, and I don't really get this kind of hate though. One question, I guess one of the reasons why people are a bit salty is the way the Fnatic games in particular have been. What was some of the reasoning not banning Aurelia against Caps? I mean, first time, okay, it kind of happens, but second time again, it's like, what was the reasoning there?
Well, like Purple side, we felt really pinched in what we could ban. So the second game, them first picking Aurelia was like, well, we get these other things, and we can actually like counterpick it this time. because I do think Lissandra will always do really well into Aurelia in terms of like how laning phase and team comp goes. It still gives him like a comfortable assassin, but I definitely don't think Fnatic is a team who's thinking like, oh, if Aurelia is banned, we have nothing left mid. I think the way Caps' champion pool goes is like, yeah, you can give him like strong things and he's going to perform, and give him something not strong and he's still going to perform. So it's like he was not the main focus of the team for sure. And then I think the very first game, we were just surprised they would pick a comp like that against us. Because I think we had like enough peel and CC in the comp and enough like early game where them picking Aurelia, they kind of needed Caps to be getting these solo kills. And I think like Ryu stepped up when we had like jungle support in the river at like a weird time. So I think that was more of a surprise to us, because I think if we don't die there, we take it the way we want to go, the game changes a bit. But I think the game snowballed really hard once like Caps got his first kill, because any assassin mid matchup is like very snowbally. So I think the first game we were very surprised. The second game was like, if they pick this is the trade-off that we're gonna go with.
Okay, so it was a deliberate choice after all, and that kind of situation. What do you make of IG and Fnatic as teams, though? Are they, because there's a lot of comments also saying, hey, these are actually like top 4 teams at the tournament, so obviously getting them in the group is unlucky. But also, what do you think of their strength, given that you played against them 4 times now?
Yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, something that maybe it's just, it is more fun to just like hate something, right? Than be like, oh, these guys are great. So I guess I understand why people are more angry than understanding that, like, I don't think if we were in European LCS, we would have done well against Fnatic anyways. And everyone, I think, we haven't been able to scrim them because we played them. But from the grapevine, it sounds like they're a really strong team, like contending for the top spots. And IG felt the exact same way. So not performing well against like much better teams doesn't seem right. So I think my personal theory is if we're getting that kind of flame, it's because like these like Medios is like a big name on the team. He got removed. Cody was a pretty big name like compared to like Rokara, who is on Academy. So I think mostly people are upset at that kind of stuff. Yeah. And they, all that anger like goes over to like, you're part of NA now and now you lost. I hate you. It's like, I think this is a little bit like outspoken. Maybe if IG and Fnatic like fail in quarters, then I'll be like more holy shit. Like I can't believe we played so bad. All right. Right now it feels like, wow, they're really good. We were a month behind them or so.
But at the end of the day, like it's of course difficult for some of the decisions, like you mentioned with Meteos and Cody's son in particular. It's very difficult, I must imagine, from a coach to explain everything to the public, because obviously there's a lot of stuff that can't be openly said unless like literally the season over or certain players leave and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, because there's really no positive side to it. Because no matter what, it's going to be like not completely truthful, because it's going to be like only my perspective or only the organization's perspective. And then there's no benefit to it because it doesn't like change how the outcome is. It would only be like airing dirty laundry, because no one is removed from a team and it's like, but we loved it and it was great and we were winning everything, and then this terrible thing happened where he just wasn't allowed to play with us. It's like, it's always something bad happened. So that's the result of it. So it's like, it's kind of inappropriate to talk about that stuff, I think, where it's out in the open to say, like, this is how everything went down from my perspective, because it's kind of like the first story that goes out is going to be the one always heard. So whether it's from like the player or the org, whoever goes first is going to be the one that like stands longer, and it doesn't really feel like this is meant to be a competition. Yeah. Like people want to know this purely from an informational standpoint, but it'll literally turn into a competition, like this side versus this side, and it's like, why would we want that? Why would like you guys want that? Because it's like, yeah, it's more fun maybe, but from everyone who is in the professional scene, from players to orgs, like we don't want to have a competition like fight between orgs and players ever, and that's kind of all it would bring.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, you were the coach of that team. Ironically, like I talked to Forgiven during EU Masters, and he was still like talking about Jankos and the kind of beef they have and that kind of stuff. And I felt like I have so much respect for both of these players and what they achieved with you as well, of course. But at this point, it just feels tiresome, and it feels like a tiresome competition rather than it's achieving anything really.
Yeah, because that one specifically, I remember it was the same feeling that this year felt, where everyone was like, "Give me answers." It's like, Forgiven, how could you ever do this? And it's like, well, if we can't make the team work, we need to try something else. And that's kind of all these changes. Like people are, I think, very confused because they're more fans of the players than orgs always. Yeah. So when it does happen, everyone is like, how could they do this to like my player, you know? And it's we're kind of trying to make the whole team work, and sorry, but we need to make the team work, right? We can't make everyone happy. Like no matter what we do, someone's always gonna be upset. Even if we traded like a unpopular player to a popular player and it was like great, it's like no matter what, there's gonna be a lot of people upset. And I think when we're trading like Meteos, who's like such a big name and really long standing, it's gonna be terrible. Like from what the fans think, same thing with like Forgiven. I remember everyone was really upset about that. But it's like, you know,
gotta make decisions.
Gotta make decisions, man.
I wholeheartedly agree. I made a video about that back in the day, that the backlash on Meteos thing was undeserved because, and I mentioned that as well, that it should change in the future, that we as fans are more fans of teams rather than players, because at the end of the day that puts a lot of organizations into more power, and that's what's needed for competition as well. Ironically, I don't think this would be as much the case in like Korean or Chinese teams, because they seemingly always take the overall success higher than a personal player's success. So I think that's one of the things that need to change from the community, quite honestly. But I very much thank you for explaining all these things. And is there anything you want to say to the 100 Thieves fans out there and to the NALCS fans probably hating you in the comments?
Oh yeah. Well, if you guys hate me, I'll just love you more, and that will make you more upset. And then it'll just be a cycle like that. So keep it coming. I was in Europe long enough. Like I've been flamed way harder than anything I've heard now. So this is like, they're like tickling me at this point. I'm like, all right, you know, I'll read it later with like a glass of wine and enjoy it.
I think that's a fantastic attitude to have. Thank you so much for your time, Pr0lly. This was Darius from the Shotcaller. Hope you had a good day. See you guys soon. Bye bye. Hi everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, and if you just enjoyed that interview, I highly recommend also checking out our exclusive Worlds series titled E-United. It gives you exclusive behind the scenes looks and like looks at the stage and fans and interviews with fans and even behind the scenes interviews and all that kind of jazz. So if you really enjoyed this video, make sure to check that out. It's gonna be worth it 100%.